Hi everyone, how have you all been? Apologies there, but I was having some technical trouble, so I had to set all this stuff up on the stream. So, it's great to see all of you again. Big Bash, Crazy Cat Lady, The Dark Lord, Good Times, Khan, G Gamer, Jess, Griffin99, Rohan. We got King Charles in here apparently. The Logman, Classic Brickman. It's great to see all of you again. Hope you've all been done. Zydon is here. Deadwolf. Fireboy. Oh, it's great to see all of you join in on the stream again. Griffin. Oh, we've got quite a lot of stories today. Goat is here as well. It says this is his sixth stream. Thanks for joining the streams, bud. So, yeah, we've got quite a good amount of stories today. If you remember last week and the week before, it's like we've been quite light on movie news, but now we have quite a bit of new stuff come our way. So, we'll definitely have some interesting stuff to talk about and some speculation with regards to some things as well. I've got some ideas as to what, might become of certain projects that have been announced. Good Time says, it's good to be back on the streaming game today. Can't wait. Well, I can't wait to chat to you guys about all of these things that we've got coming up. So yeah, let's see. Dark Lord says, I saw... Oh, hit the microphone there. Dark Lord says, I saw Skeleton Crew and it was mid to okay at best. I saw the first episode. Me and my dad saw it. And yeah, not very impressed, to say the least. I thought there was some cool stuff in there, but I wasn't overly fond of it. It was too kiddie to me, and I thought it needed to be a bit more... I don't know, it just had to be more interesting. It felt weird to be following these little kids in a Star Wars project, and the main girl who's in it, I thought she was by far the worst actor. She was trying too hard to act cool, and you could tell it was just a kid performance. It was not good. It was very bad, I thought. I thought she was the worst actor in it, which is a shame, because I don't like saying that about kid actors, because, they're usually trying. But whatever it was they wanted her to do, she was not doing it. And I haven't even seen the second episode yet. Jess says, I don't care about Skeleton Crew. Creature Commandos is more of an adult show. I prefer that than the preschool Star Wars show. Yeah, I've not seen Creature Commandos yet, so I can't say. But we'll see how they both do. Alright, Elite. That's your new name, Electrify. That actually is a pretty badass name. To me, though, you'll always still be Elite. That's how it's always been. But we'll see if I get used to that. But thank you very much for the $2 super chat, buddy. Oh. Pen is a bit weird. Anyway, what does he say? He goes, Hi, Eric. This is Elite. How was that Sonic 3 clip? I have not seen that Sonic 3 clip. I've heard of the clip going around, but I've not seen it because I'm trying to keep the movie a surprise for when I go see it in theaters. I've seen all the trailers I'm going to see. I don't want to watch anything else now. Now I just want to go into the movie and just watch the movie for the first time. So that's my idea right now, as it is. Lion Main Man says, Hey Eric, this is off topic, but could you please do a video about the director's cut for The Amazing Spider-Man? They have a lot of cut scenes. Release the web cut. Well, it's not really a director's cut. It's just a bunch of deleted scenes, isn't it? We'll see. I think I did consider it a long time ago, but I think The Amazing Spider-Man is kind of out of the sort of like stratosphere of conversation now. So, I don't know. We'll see if I do, but it's not on my immediate list. Right now I'm working on the Moana versus video, which the script is pretty much done. I'm already editing the story and character segment. And then after that I'm going to do the Sonic versus video, and I'm doing these Let's Watch videos as well. So there's a lot of stuff I've got coming. The G-Gamer says, have you seen the trailer for Naughty Dog's next game, which it got disliked on YouTube? I've seen the trailer. I didn't know it was getting disliked a lot, but honestly, after The Last of Us Part 2, I don't blame people for disliking Naughty Dog. I don't trust them, quite frankly. Also, I'm just tired of seeing these CGI cinematics rather than some gameplay. That's what I want to see with these game trailers, but can you imagine going to those events, spending all the time, the money, the travel, just to get down to an event where you see a bunch of CGI cutscenes? When you're there at a game event, you want to see footage from the actual game. You don't want to see a cinematic, which most likely won't even end up in the final game. I find that really quite ridiculous when they do that stuff. So, yeah, here's hoping we get some more gameplay, because the new games, The new games are just boring me, to be quite frank with you. It's like back in the day, you would see game announcements and it would be exciting. But now they're just too few and far between. There's very little game announcements. And when they do announce games, they just show you CGI cutscenes. And when they do announce the game, it takes years for it to come out. And by the time it does come out, it doesn't really feel worth it these days. So honestly, I've been having more fun playing games from previous generations. In fact, I completed Ultimate Spider-Man for the GameCube on my Steam Deck, which I've got just right here, my Steam Deck OLED. I completed Ultimate Spider-Man on it. Right now, I'm also working my way through the Spider-Man 2 game, you know, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2. I'm playing Spider-Man 2, the game, right now on my Steam Deck as well, and I'm going through that. I'm having a lot of fun with that as well. Surprisingly holds up very well. So I'm having an amazing time playing older games, and I've got other games, older games, that I want to play through on my Steam Deck. I'm working my way through it. But all these new games, I really just don't care. I played Spider-Man 2 when that came out recently for the PS5, I think last year. And the game, I played it once, beat it. I did not feel like going back to it again, except for doing some free roam. But yeah, games nowadays, they really are just completely lackluster and disappointing. So to me, the games that are really interesting are the games of the past. Those are the ones where it's fun to revisit them and play them on especially on stuff like the Steam Deck. It's just so much fun. And these games are all free. You don't have to pay for any of them. So yeah, the newer games, I think they're just very much in one ear, out the other now. I think the PS4 was the best console generation. After that, these games are just so dull. I really do think they are. The Dark Lord says, also, I saw Megamind 2 and need to know the best brain surgeon on the planet. I have to see if they can fix all the brain cells I lost from it. Oh boy. Dude, you're just scaring me, you are, because the G-Gamer has requested that I do a review of Megamind 2. The G-Gamer has commissioned that review from me, so I need to do that. Let me double check. Yeah, it was G-Gamer that asked me for that. You are not filling me with confidence for that. You really aren't. Yeah. That's... The funny thing is in the next 2 weeks, I'm actually going to watch Megamind 2 anyway, because I need to see if it ends up on my top 5 worst movies of the year. I don't know how... I've seen some bad movies this year. I don't know how Megamind 2 can end up on that list, but I'll watch it and see if it does end up on that list. Who asked me that? Oh, Electrify. Dude, you weren't kidding when you said last live stream that your new name is going to be badass. Electrify. There's something satisfying about reading that on this stream, on the chat right here. That is a cool name. The Superman trailer is coming tomorrow in a press event. Yes, it is. It's coming tomorrow in a press event, and then later in the week it'll land for us. The rumor is that the new Superman trailer focuses a lot on Crypto, the dog, Superman's dog. That is going to be a very weird choice if they focus on that dog a lot. The only thing I can imagine is that it's going to be... Either it's going to be one of those teasers that shows you nothing, so they just show you the dog, or Superman might show up in the last second, but they'll follow the dog who's making his way to Superman, and Superman pets him. That's just my guess. I don't know what. We'll have to see. But what I'm hoping to see in that Superman teaser is I'm really hoping that we get to see a sense of tone, because I want to know what the tone is going to be for James Gunn's Superman, because it better not be just to repackage Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's something that James Gunn seems to be doing. He's very much a one-trick pony. If you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and even Creature Commandos, it does seem like he keeps doing that one thing over and over again, and I really hope he changes that. I don't want to see him keep doing the same thing. Oh, Khan, happy birthday. Hope you've had a great birthday today. Selena says, have you heard that they're making a Clayface movie? Well, have you read the title for this live stream? We can talk about that soon. I've got stuff to say about that. So, yeah, with all that said, I think it's about time we start the stream. Ethan's drawing says, who's ready for Sonic 3 to shred Mufasa? I think we all are. And none of us are going to be paying attention to Mufasa. We're all just going to be paying attention to Sonic 3. Alright then, so before we get onto the topics, as always, if you guys want to ask me questions, I won't be answering them during these stories. The only way I will answer them is if you do a super chat, or if you do a Streamlabs chat, which you can do with the link in the description or the link that I've pinned in the chat section of the comments. I've got it pinned as a link to Streamlabs. Any donations really does help support the channel, and you get your question answered immediately. So, yeah. With that said, also if you use Streamlabs, you'll get your comment and your name pop up on the screen. So it's definitely more beneficial to use Streamlabs in that regard. All right then. So let's get ready to talk about these stories. Okay, here's the first story. Looks like Chris Evans is actually going to be returning to the MCU. Now, he's returning to the MCU with the Russo brothers. It turns out the Russo brothers, with Avengers Doomsday, they've brought back Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, and now they have brought back Chris Evans as Captain America. Now, we don't know what role he's going to play, but a lot of us are assuming that it's going to be Captain America. But there are interesting bits of information, though. Like, some people have come up with a lot of speculations as to what this could be. They said that if Robert Downey Jr. is coming back and is playing Doctor Doom, then Chris Evans could be coming back, but he could potentially be playing an evil Captain America. That's what people are speculating right now. And if I show you this right over here, I'm going to show you a little bit of a DC thing right here. This might seem like the Justice League if you look at just the Green Lantern and Superman. But actually, this is what in the comics called the Crime Syndicate. Now, the Crime Syndicate in the comics are an alternate universe version of the Justice League who are evil. So these are villain Justice Leagues right here. And this is something that was done in the comics. And this is something that we've seen a lot through DC. We've seen it in comic books, we've seen it in animation, in the Justice League animated series. There was actually a point where the characters went over to see the evil, to an alternate universe where they found the evil Justice League, and they had to fight them and everything. It was really cool if you watch the Justice League animated series. And then also, there are other evil versions of superheroes. If you watch the CW shows, they try to delve into that as well, especially in the Flash's case, because there was an evil Flash at one point in the Flash TV show on CW. And now it looks like we're having Marvel try to get in on that multiverse stuff, because we also know DC has done it in video game space. In the video game space, we've seen the Injustice video game, which I've actually got in my PS4 collection back there. In the Injustice video game, we all know there's evil Superman in there and there's evil Justice League members. So this looks like now Marvel are trying to do the same thing. So the rumor is that people are wondering is if they brought back Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, then what if they bring back other members of the Avengers, but we have evil versions of them? So maybe we could have an evil Thor. We could have, it'll make me laugh if we see this, but an evil Black Widow, even though she's just human. I mean, how much damage can she really do to the rest of the heroes? But basically, we're going to have what people are speculating, and it's actually a good speculation, is that we will have an evil Avengers. So all our Avengers, but they're going to be evil. And then it will be all of these new Avengers versus the original Avengers, who are now all evil. So basically, whereas right now the MCU is cluttered, we've got so many different heroes out there. The idea is that probably the Russo brothers will try to pick the best of those new Avengers that they have post-Endgame and have them face off against the original Avengers, who just so happen to be evil versions of themselves. So that's what it seems to be. That seems to be the idea of what they're going to do. But this is all speculation. But if they do that, if they go the route of what DC have done, that actually is a pretty cool idea. And trust the Russo brothers to actually do something good with that, because we've seen a lot of multiverse stuff which is overly complicated, and the people they bring in is like, who gives a shit? Like, if you watch Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, really, who cares about Peggy Carter playing Captain America in that? And they brought Charles Xavier back, but he was just completely useless in that. And they even had him repeat a fantastic line he had in X-Men Days of Future Past, but here it was just pathetic. It made no sense in terms of what his character had done and how he treated the previous Doctor Strangers when they let the other Doctor Strangers die. But then this Doctor Strange, he lets him live. It was just so weird. It was so stupid. It was such an embarrassment, those cameos in Multiverse of Madness. So what the Russo brothers are doing here is something which is more simple and easy to understand. And it could be more interesting to have your original Avengers in here, but they're evil versions of themselves. That is something which I think could be really cool, and I hope they really do delve into that, and maybe even show how these Avengers became evil. Because if this is going to be leading into the Avengers Secret Wars, where there's multiverse characters and original characters all fighting each other, this seems like a good in. Like, this is the beginning of how we're going to get to the more complicated stuff in Secret Wars, which is meant to be an all-out multiverse battle. So I think that's a pretty cool idea if they're going to bring Chris Evans back to do that. Now, if they brought him back to do play Captain America again, that probably wouldn't be as good. But the fact they're bringing him back to play an evil version of himself, I think that is more interesting. Because if you actually look into what it says about Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom, he's not playing a multiverse version of himself, at least from what we've heard from the announcement when he came out, when Robert Downey Jr. came out on stage and he announced his return. They said that he was going to be actual Doctor Doom and not a multiverse version of Doctor Doom, not a Tony Stark variant, basically. So I think it's cool that they're going to bring him in to do that. They're both playing essentially different characters, although Chris Evans is playing just a different version of himself. But we have seen Soldier Boy in The Boys, haven't we? So an evil Captain America does not seem quite as new an idea, but it all comes down to execution. Now, this also makes me think, what about our current Captain America, who is Sam Wilson, or the Falcon, who, that's what he is to me. He's still the Falcon. I don't think they did a good job of, in his show, I don't think they did a good job of, transforming him into Captain America. So, basically, what is going to happen of him? Because his movie has not even come out yet, and already we're getting the original Captain America back. I'm saying he could be an evil version, but who knows? They could just bring back Chris Evans and just say, oh, look, he's younger now. Because Chris Evans has not been having a good job with his acting gigs. Aside from Knives Out, all his other roles, you can look at them on IMDb, they are just terrible movies. And they're quite embarrassing as well. It's like, how'd you go from Captain America to this, to what he's been playing? So it actually makes sense why he would come running back to Marvel, because his career has not gone where he would have expected it to go. So, yeah, basically, so what does this mean for that Captain America, who's not even had his proper go yet? I personally think it just says everything you need to know. It shows that Captain America has not worked, no one's excited for it. In fact, when his movie The Brave New World comes out, which apparently is getting terrible reviews from people inside Marvel who are test screening it, so that's why they're doing tons of reshoots. But I think they know the writing is on the wall. They know he's not taken off. They know that it's not a slam dunk for them to actually get, like, they know they're not going to get a success out of that Captain America movie. So they already know we need to do something to fix this, because Captain America, our brand with Captain America, is just not working right now. It's in a bad place. So clearly they're going to try and bring Steve Rogers back, the original Captain America, because essentially they're just going back running to him because they know they've lost it. They failed. So that's why they're doing that, and honestly, I'd say go for it, because they've not done a good job with Sam Wilson as Captain America. He's not filled a void. At the beginning, all of us were interested, but then his show came out and it sucked. So yeah, there's no hype for him as Captain America. So yeah, them doing this, it's not surprising. It sucks for Anthony Mackie. I think he seems like he's actually pretty cool, but like as an actor, you have the obnoxious types like your Rachel Zegler, for example. But I don't think he's obnoxious. He actually seems pretty cool when you watch him in interviews and stuff. And he's not pulled the racist card or anything with people. So I think Anthony Mackie he seems like a genuinely good guy. So I do feel bad for him. I think they should have done, Marvel failed him. They should have done good by him, but they haven't. So I think if there's any problem here, it's not really to do with him. It's more to do with the writing and the way they developed him moving forward after Endgame. And I think they just failed him, to be perfectly honest with you. So yeah, that's basically what's going on. We got Steve Rogers back, and it's also apparently been confirmed that we're going to get Peggy Carter back as well. I don't know to what capacity we're going to get her back, because she's also dead in the MCU. She's supposed to be. So I wonder what they're going to do when they bring her back. Is there going to be an alternate version of her as well? Is she going to be a female Captain America in that movie? Which, if she is, I think it would be interesting if she's married to him and they're both like an evil couple. That would be cool. But yeah, we gotta wait and see what they do, I think. But it seems like it's still gonna be a while until this movie comes out. But they're already... Seeing as they're casting these many actors right now, it makes me wonder, is the script done, or are they still writing it? Depends how long it's taken for them to write it, but I hope they take their time on that script. And they do right by it. And I hope they make the movie well as well, and I hope they don't just rush it with green screens and stuff. Oh, look at that. We got a Streamlabs chat from Santa Claus. It says right there. Santa Claus says... Hang on. Santa Claus has only donated £1. That's funny, Santa. Back up at the North Pole, do you just... You think that at the North Pole, he's got like his own like mafia game going on where he'd have his elves like all having like handing out cash and everything. Cause Santa, can't you get yourself any presents? Okay, I'm just being a dick. I'm just ignore me. Anyway, Santa, are you guys gonna be playing this game again where you keep coming in and having these historical figures pop their names up on the screen? I hope it's not another one of those things. Santa says, "Ho ho ho! It's me, Father Christmas. Now I am here on Streamlabs, but I'm also in the YouTube chat as the King of England." See what I said? As the King of England. We've got another poser going in the chat here. So, Eric, 2 questions. 1, is there a Streamlabs bar we need to get for a film review this week? And 2, what do you want for Christmas? Well, the bar that we have to do, I haven't added another bar. And as you can see, I've not removed this other bar either. We still got Edward Scissorhands here. I don't know. I've not thought about it. Right now, I'm not really thinking of it, but I've left this one here. So if you want to fill that bar, by all means, it's still there. And let's see. What was the other question? The other question is, what do you want for Christmas? Well, right now, the thing that I'm looking to get is a 4K monitor. The monitor I've got here, I'm going to be sending back because it's 1440p, and it's cool, better than my 1080p monitor, and it's an OLED monitor. But I want a 4K monitor, so I will be sending this one back and saving up for a 4K one. So yeah, for Christmas, Eric wants a 4K monitor so I can edit my videos on and watch movies on, all that stuff, you know. So that's what Eric wants for Christmas. Thank you, Santa. Now, let's see. Just make sure you don't throw that monitor down my chimney, because I don't want it to break. Anyway, let's see. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So, what do you guys think? And where is... Ah, there it is, the alerts box. So, what do you guys think? What do you think of this whole situation of casting Chris Evans in this movie? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it seems desperate? Because it is a desperate move, let's be honest. But do you think the whole multiverse idea of him being an evil Captain America is a cool one? Be sure to let me know. Khan says, this just feels like a desperate move made by Marvel. Rohan says, it seems an interesting idea of him playing a variant evil version of Captain America. Daniel says, Wagwan, my favorite YouTuber. Thank you, Daniel. Let's see. Fireboy says, not a bad idea for an evil version of Avengers. I'm really interested in Marvel making a dark version of Cap. It depends, though. How dark will they go with them? Because that's what you really want to see. If you look at Injustice, for example, Superman went quite extreme with how dark he was. So you'd want to see Captain America go quite extreme as well. That's what I would want to see. But it's like, will Marvel be able to take him there to that level of extreme? Will the Russo brothers be able to take him to that level of extreme? Because I don't know. In terms of going to really dark places, I'm not sure if even the Russo brothers have done that yet. I don't think they have. I think they've been more consistent with their tone. You know, they've not had jokes like ruin the tension of the scene. They did a bit in Endgame, but for the most part, they've been very good in terms of tone, but they've not really pushed it. They pushed it a bit in Winter Soldier, but they never tried to push it again after that, I think. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they do, but I really do hope the Russos can push it more. Electrify says, desperate, but I hope the Russo brothers can make a good idea of it. Yeah, that's the thing. I think they can make a good idea of it, but I think they need to do... They need to go above and beyond. They need to do more than what they did the last time round. So they need to make it darker, is what they have to do. I mean, by the time this movie comes out, it'll be from the original Avengers they made, the Avengers Endgame. Came out in 2019, didn't it? it will be essentially 7 years by the time this movie hits theaters and we see it. So it's like, by then, I hope the Russos realize 7 years is a long time, and their audience has grown since Avengers Endgame. 7 years older, that's nearly a decade. So I hope the Russos look at that and say, you know what, we are going to make the movie more adult because of that. We're going to push that PG-13 rating. Because the Russos don't tend to push the PG-13... I mean, not the Russos, the Marvel movies don't push the PG-13 rating. But technically, even the Russos have never really pushed the PG-13 rating, so I'm hoping they push it with this movie. But that would be interesting, wouldn't it? To go from Thanos being the villain to Captain America being the villain, or one of the villains. That will be cool. So yeah, let's see. We got Venom here. Now we got Venom, who's donated $5. Venom here says, Eric, how dare you give my movie a 5 out of 10? Give my movie a 9, like a turd in the wind. Why do you prefer sophisticated films over action? My film is epic. I'm going to throw out a guess. Is that Jess? That seems like something that Jess would say. I just think, yeah, you guys know what I thought of Venom. 5 is pretty generous. Which movie are you talking about? The first one or the third one? I can't even remember what I gave the third Venom movie. What did I give the third Venom movie? I did give it a 5, didn't I? A 5 out of 10. Oh, Zayden says a 3 out of 10. I don't think I gave it 3 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Yeah, that was it. A 5 out of 10. That sounds right. 5 out of 10 is fair, because that means the movie is average. If I gave it any lower, that would mean it's worse. But the fact, to me, 5 was fair. Very generous, I thought, as well. Considering how much dumb stuff they do in that movie. Like, Venom dancing with Mrs. What was her name? Mrs. Chen? Was it? When he danced around with her, revealing himself to those evil symbiote-eating creatures. That was so stupid. And then what happens to him in the end was all because of him. That was such a stupid thing. The movie deserves to lose points for that stupid scene. It was really quite pathetic. Jonah White has donated £7.93. Thank you very much, Jonah. What is going on with my pen here? It's really stiff. £7.93. Thank you very much, Jonah. He says, hey Eric, who do you think got the worst death in The Boys Season 4, Episode 4? Frank... Oh, you mean that scene, or that episode. Frank in the oven, Marty and his death, Barbara being left in the Red Room, or the other scientists. Also, have you watched the Star Wars Skeleton Crew yet, or plan on it? Alright, in terms of the boys, the person who suffered the worst death... I don't know, they were all horrible ways to die, those were. Barbara being left in the Red Room, I was wondering, did he just lock her in there and leave her there to starve to death or something? Is that what he did? Which is all cruel ways. I wouldn't want to pick any of those ways. Especially when the one guy, he slowly crushes his head after the other injury he has, you know, downstairs. Dude, which one's the worst? I'll say Marty and his death. It's definitely down to the first two. We didn't see how he killed the other scientists exactly. We could only use our imaginations. But I'd say it was Marty if I had to say who had the worst death. It's probably him. But then again, Frank in the oven was a terrible death as well. Dude, I don't know. They're so hard to pick. I'll say Marty and his death. It seemed like he was suffering for the longest. And in terms of the Skeleton Crew, I mentioned it earlier. I watched the first episode, and I was not too impressed. It was nothing special, I thought. And I've not seen the second episode yet, or the episodes after that. So, yeah, I was not impressed with I thought the kids were good actors, but I was not impressed with that main girl. I thought she was trying to act like a Han Solo. She was trying to have a bit of a cool swagger to her. And it didn't work. It felt like I was watching her in a school play. It's like she thought she was being cool when she wasn't. It wasn't working, everything they tried to do with her character. If anything, I thought it was quite embarrassing watching her. It was a really bad performance, and I always feel bad saying that about kids, but it's true. I kept saying several times out loud to my dad, I was like, man, she really can't act. And whatever she was trying to do, it did not work. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that, Jonah. And thanks for the Streamlabs chat. I really appreciate it. Venom says, my movie made more money than Joker 2. My film was 400 million. Yeah, well, both of you were turds in the wind there, so you're not going to get any sympathy from me or anything. And who cares if you make a lot of money? A lot of crappy movies have made money. Okay. Chris says, was the dance scene as bad as that scene in the Marvels? I'd say pretty much, yeah. It was pretty much, yeah. Both in different ways, though. But yeah. Okay. The Sony... Khan says the Sony films feel like a turd in the wind. That they do. So yeah, going back to this whole discussion, what do you guys think? Do you think that's a good... This is a good idea overall, or do you think it's a lame idea? Hui Tunmore says the tough girl in Skeleton Crew was shown to only act that way because others were being mean and tough on her. It's really just an act because she is insecure. I don't know if you're referring to later episodes, but if those episodes later on tell you that, then cool. If she just drops it because it's not working, it really isn't. It's cringy. So, fair enough if that's the case, but I haven't seen the other episodes yet, so I can't say at the moment. Nate, yes I will. I will be doing a Christmas watch along. I've already got one edited and I'll put it up soon on the channel. I just gotta make a thumbnail. Khan says I'm not impressed with the idea. Sonic says this is a mixed idea. It could go well or it could go bad. Well, I agree. Or it's cool but should have been done earlier, says Big Bash. I agree with you, Big Bash. It should have been done earlier. Or at the very least, they should have done a better job with it. Oh, Hui Tunmore, it says, it was shown in the first episode. You need to rewatch to see. Really? It was in the first episode? That's interesting. Joshman says, Eric, are you going to do a Christmas watch-along on your main channel or just be exclusive to YouTube members? The full version or the extended version of the Christmas watch-along is on my Patreon already, so if you want to go give it a watch. It's The Grinch. The original Grinch, and the Jim Carrey Grinch I've not edited yet, so it'll take a bit more of a while for you guys to see that on the channel. But yeah, if you want to see those, they're already on Patreon for you to see right now, so you can go see them even right now if you wanted to. But for everyone else, you're going to get that later in the month, and you're going to get an edited down version of it, where you see my thoughts at more of a rapid fire. But that's basically what's going to happen. Kind of like the Moana Let's Watch video I did. So if you want to watch the full version or an extended version, those are on my Patreon as well. Electrify says, what watch-along are you planning doing on Christmas? It'll be the two Grinch movies. The original Boris Karloff one, the animated one, the animated short, the 20-minute one, and the Jim Carrey one. Those are my ideas for the Christmas one. They're already on Patreon if you want to give them a watch, so they're there already. But if you want to watch them on the channel, you're going to have to wait, and they'll be edited down versions. So if you want to watch the full versions, you head on over to my Patreon to go see them. Okay. Oh, Saeed has joined. Thanks a lot, Saeed. Really appreciate you for coming back in and watching another live stream. Alright then. I think we've gotten everything out of this story. Now it's time to move on to the next one. Okay then. So, James Gunn. The reason I'm bringing up James Gunn is because it has just been announced that we are going to be getting... Ooh, Alex donated £1 through Streamlabs. Thank you very much, Alex. I really appreciate that. And he asks, it amazed me that the Sony Marvel universe lasted as long as they have. What do you think is the worst movie franchise that lasted way too long? Resident Evil comes to my mind. The worst franchise that went on for too long? I'd say Cars. You guys know how much I don't like that first Cars movie. I even made a video talking about it a while back. In one of my Q&A videos where someone asked. So I think Cars went on for way too long. It shouldn't have gone on, but it kept going on. Or in many ways, you could even say these Disney live-action remakes have been going on for way too long. So that's another one. So that's what I would say. There's two for you, Alex. Okay, so going back to what I was saying. Let's see. Alright, so a new movie has been announced, and that new movie is a Clayface movie. Now, here's Clayface, as you can see. This character, Clayface, is one of Batman's supervillains that was made that was really put on the map because of Batman the Animated Series. Even I remember watching this as a kid, and I really enjoyed it, and it blew me away some of the stuff that Clayface was able to do with his powers and everything. I thought he was a phenomenal villain and a very tragic villain. The whole idea of him being an actor who basically went through all of this. I thought it was a great idea. And now they're going to be making a movie of him. A standalone movie. But before I talk about that, let me just quickly answer this super chat from Good Times. Good Times says Sonic 3 releases 5 days late for me, making things I want to see in the movie video. Making a thing... Okay, so that's a shame. I think that's a separate thing you're saying. Making things I want to see in the movie video. Any tips on how I should make it? Trying a new video style. Making things you want to see in a movie video. Is that what you're saying? Any tips on how I should make it? Trying a new video style. Well, it really depends on what your video style is. You need to... First, it all comes down to how you structure your script for the video. If it's going to be like a top 5 type thing, then what you just need to do is just splash a number on the screen that says number 5 or number 4, number 3. That counts your points down. And then if you want, put the text on the screen and then use footage from the movie and talk about what you want. Or footage from the game and talk about what you want. So just look at a lot of videos where other people do their top 5s and take inspiration from those. That's what I would recommend you do. Alright then. Video style is something like your videos. Try to do your own style. Everyone's got a different style. You just got to imagine in your head what you want your style to be, and then you just try to pull it off visually and show that style to everyone. Get it out of your brain onto the screen. That's what you need to do. So it all starts by being planned out in your head before you actually go about and do it. So that's my best advice to you. That's what I did, and then I ended up doing my style. And now I just repeat my style every year with my top 5 best and worst movies list, for example. Alright then, so going back to this. Now, when we heard that they were going to do a Clayface movie, first of all, it was rumoured for a while now, like well over a year, maybe even 2 years, that I think it was a year actually to be realistic, that it was apparently Mike Flanagan, that was writing a script for Clayface. Now, Mike Flanagan has made several movies that you might have seen. He's made Dr. Sleep, which I thought was really good. I actually preferred it over the original Shining movie. He also made a movie called Hush, which is a fantastic home invasion movie that was on Netflix. Although I think they've taken it off of Netflix now, so I think the only place you can watch that film is through the dark web, basically, because I think they've taken it off of the Netflix store. It's never been sold on DVD or Blu-ray. So I think I don't even think it's on iTunes or anything. So I think the only way you can get it is through other means on the internet. The movie's just inaccessible, which is shocking. But yeah, he's made a lot of movies. He's also made a lot of shows on Netflix, like the Haunting of Bly Manor, and he's made a lot of there's a lot of haunted house series he's done on Netflix. So I would recommend that you go on there to check his TV show work out. I like his work, but I think his TV shows go on for too long and they have too much padding. I think he's better when it comes to movies, personally. Kevin, who's donated $2, thank you, Kevin, says Bad Boys 4 is the only good Sony film of this year. I've not seen it, so I can't say, but my family have seen it and they had fun with it. So yeah, I'd believe you. I can't think of another movie they've done this year. So yeah, you probably have a point there, Kevin. So yeah, Mike Flanagan, he was basically writing this script. Apparently the Clayface movie that he's written is meant to be a horror movie, which is dark and tragic. So that's really cool. I think that could be a cool Clayface movie. Only problem is, Mike Flanagan is not directing it, and that is a really big shame. It would have been cool to see him direct the movie that he was writing. But yeah, he's not directing it. So because the reason he's not directing it is because he's making The Exorcist, and that's a movie that he's going to be directing, so he'll be busy with that, so they need to get another director, which is a shame. But regardless, it seems like we're going to get one, which is really cool. And the budget, I think I heard the budget was like $40 million. Let me double check. Yep, $40 million to make this movie. That is a great budget. For a horror movie, You can do a lot with that kind of money. So if they spend their budget well, they can do a great job. And that's something good. This is like them trying to go for another Joker situation, where the budget for that film was about $55 million. So for them to go from Joker, which made $1 billion, to making a Clayface movie at $40 million, that's a really cool idea, that is. So I'll be really excited to see what they can do. I just hope they don't make him a comedic character, because Clayface has been a bit comedic lately. So I really hope they try to make him like he was in the animated series. I think that would be cool. He was also in the Batman cartoon as well, and I thought they had a really good version of him there. He was a completely different character. He was even race-bent as well, but it worked. It was really good. Now, here's the thing. People thought that this was going to be a movie in Matt Reeves' Batman world. The reason why is because Matt Reeves is a producer on this movie, just like he's a producer on The Penguin and all those other spin-offs for the Batman, which seem to be coming up. So we were all like, everyone was like, oh, so if he's producing it, this has to be in his own The Batman world, right? The Batman universe. Well, no, because James Gunn said that this movie is going to be based in the DCU. So that means, if this is based in the DCU, that this is not in the Matt Reeves universe. It's in James Gunn's universe. So why is Matt Reeves producing it? This is where things start to get really confusing. And James Gunn says that Matt Reeves is a great filmmaker, so he's producing stuff for them as well. But I really wish they didn't do that, because when Matt Reeves produces something, we know it's for his universe. But when he starts producing something for a different universe, a DCU, where there's going to be a different Batman, that is so weird, dude. It's like, what does that mean? Does that mean that when James Gunn finally does his Batman, does that mean that Matt Reeves is going to produce that Batman movie while he's also directing and writing and producing his Batman movie? It's just so weird. And it is a bit of a shame, because I did like the idea of making this a horror movie and everything in Matt Reeves' Batman universe. But at the same time, Matt Reeves is trying to make sure that his universe goes as heightened as they can without going full supernatural, is what Matt Reeves said he's going to do. So it makes me wonder, if that's what he's going to do, how far could they have gone with their version of Clayface? I don't think they'll be able to go too far. He probably would have just been a master of disguise, because they were going to try to keep it grounded. So the idea of them making this kind of movie, but in the more supernatural James Gunn universe, I think there is something more interesting with that could be done. So yeah, I'm actually quite interested to see what they do with this Clayface movie in the DCU. So I think that's actually a pretty cool idea, but I don't like how they're getting Matt Reeves to produce this other DCU stuff. It's just so confusing. So yeah, I hope they don't go about doing that. I hope they do a better job, to be honest with you, in terms of like separating Matt Reeves' universe and separating the DCU, because it is quite confusing so far. But yeah, having a Clayface movie, and it'll be relatively low budget, so it means they're going to have to be very smart about how they go about making this. I think this can actually be really, really cool. This is really delving into something that Marvel have never done, but DC has. Like I said, they did it with the first Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, the first one. As much as we hate the second one, they also decided to make a villain movie with that. But we've also got the Penguin as well, where they're willing to make a movie about a villain. And even Peacemaker, he was becoming less of a villain, but he was still a show about villains. Then you got Creature Commandos. Now we have this coming out, and I really do like the idea that we're going to get a Clayface movie where he's going to be a villain. So he is going to be a villain. They're not going to pull any of that nonsense where he becomes an anti-hero or a hero like what Sony have been doing with theirs. He's going to be a villain, so that's really cool. That's exciting. And given the $40 million budget, I wouldn't be surprised if they make this movie rated R. That would be kind of cool. They could do some real cool body horror with this, I think, if they use a lot of practical effects and everything. So I hope they do a great job. I really do. And yeah, a horror movie with with one of Batman's supervillains. Then imagine when that horror character ends up meeting Batman. How would that be like for a horror villain to come across a dark superhero? But Batman's never really in the horror genre. He was a bit in the Matt Reeves movie, but he's usually in a darker movie, but it's usually a dark crime movie. But combine dark crime movie with body horror movie, that would be really interesting. That would be. So yeah, what do you guys think of that? Brandon Spark says DC has always had better villains. That's probably why they're doing more movies about them. That is true, because you can see Batman's characters having, just like comic books, you can see them having their own issues and their own comics. But with characters like Craven and stuff, in the movie space, with what Sony are doing, they're not interesting enough to make villain movies out of. Batman's villains are, because they're very complex. Because in DC, we have Clayface. Over in Spider-Man's world, we have Chameleon. And I don't think Chameleon is as sophisticated a character as Clayface is. There is so much more you can do with Clayface. I mean, there was even an episode in The Adventures of Batman and Robin, you know, the sequel show to Batman the Animated Series, where Robin met this girl who Clayface was coming after. I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but that was a tragic episode. Very adult as well. They had kids in it, but it was a very adult episode. So there's some really cool, tragic, and dark, and just messed up stuff that even the animated series did. And imagine what they could do with that in a movie like this, especially if it's rated R. So yeah, I'm very excited by the prospects of this. I really am. I think there's a lot that they can do here. And I hope they do a great job with it. The G-Gamer says, oh, that was sad. It was, wasn't it? You guys probably don't know which episode I'm talking about. Does anyone in the chat know which season and episode that was of the animated series? I think we should share that with everyone here. Let me see. Batman the Animated Series Clayface episodes. It was called Growing Pains. I'm pretty sure it was called Growing Pains. Season 4, yeah, Season 4, Growing Pains. In fact, I'll probably watch that tonight, you know, once this live stream is over. This episode came out in February 28, 1998. So this went back, this came out a long, long time ago. Ooh, that's a phenomenal episode, that is. And it was directed by, it was written by Paul Dini. He was one of the writers. Well, great job on Paul Dini, because he's one of my favorite Batman writers, he is. And for him to make this episode, or write this episode, sorry. Let's see, where is it? Is it here? Or was he the director of it? I don't see the Growing Pains right here. He must be the writer. That seems like something that he would do. But anyway, yeah. Watch the Batman the Animated Series Growing Pains. For those of you that have not seen it, I'm not going to tell you anything about it. Just watch it. The story consists of Robin, who finds this girl, and Clayface seems to be chasing them. And that's what the whole episode is. It's a survival episode, but it has... I just don't want to say any more. There's something really cool that happens in that episode, and it was surprising. You didn't expect a Robin episode to turn up being that dark and tragic and everything. It was so cool. The Dark Lord said, not sure about specifics, but I remember the episode. Me too. That's why I want to watch it again, because I remember what the big thing is that happens, but I don't remember everything. It's been years since I've seen it, so yeah, I probably should give it another watch at some point. Tonight, maybe, if I'm not too tired when I'm finished this stream. Robin says they should do a Killer Croc movie. Well, we'll have to see. But if they do Killer Croc, I want him to be big like he was in the Arkham series. That would be something to see, because he was a monster in the Arkham games. He was so freaking big. So yeah. So what do you guys think then of having a Clayface movie? Do you think it's a cool prospect? Do you think it's a wasted idea? Or do you think that... And also, what do you think of Matt Reeves producing stuff for the DCU? Would you guys say it's getting confusing as well when he does that? Khan says, the Clayface movie has potential, just don't mess it up. Sarah, great to see you. Oh, it's great that we're getting more of you back into the stream. Sarah says, what have I missed? You've missed the first story, and now you've missed the second story, but we're doing the Q&A for the second story. So if there's anything you want to know. Basically, Captain America... Steve Rogers came back. Chris Evans came back as Captain America for the... Here. Steve Rogers came back for Captain America. And the rumor is, what people are guessing is that he might play an evil version of himself. So that's what we're kind of interested in. And then we also have the idea that they might have an evil Avengers coming up in the next movie, because they've already got an evil Iron Man, essentially, and an evil Captain America. That means they might have an evil Avengers, just like these evil DC characters in the comics, which are called the Crime Syndicate. Let's bring them up. Here, these guys are called the Crime Syndicate. They're an evil Justice League. So the idea is that I think Marvel are going to try to do an evil Avengers, essentially. You know, the post-Endgame Avengers faces the original Avengers, who happen to be evil in Doomsday. That's what I think is going to happen. So yeah, and now we're moving on to the Clayface story, that they're going to make a standalone Clayface movie. Ah, Sarah says, can't stay for long, just wanted to say hi, I'm hanging with my friend too. Oh, that's no problem. Thank you for dropping by, Sarah, when you have. Always remember, by the end of the stream, there'll be a Q&A. If you want to jump in at any point then, you can do that as well. G-Gamer says, let's hope they don't gender bend him like they did with the Penguin Cape Crusader. They shouldn't. If they do that, I think they know they'll get some, you know, pushback. And come on, we all want to see Clayface for the first time in live action. If you're going to do him in live action for the first time, you got to do it right. So let's hope they do it right. Robin says, it's kind of odd how we're getting a Superman movie, then Supergirl, and after that, Clayface instead of a Batman movie. Well, apparently the Batman pot, yeah, that is weird from the DCU standpoint. But apparently with here's the funnier thing. A month after this movie comes out, apparently we're going to get the Batman Part 2 in theaters from Matt Reeves. A month after this comes out, and it's not even based in his universe. It's a different Batman universe. That is such a weird concept, that is. But I have faith. But I have faith that they will do a very good job with it. DC are very good when it comes to their villains. They really are. So I hope they... I have faith that they will do a good job. If it was in Sony's hands or something, or Marvel's hands, I wouldn't trust it. But DC's hands... They're very good when it comes to keeping villains, so I have faith that they'll do a good job with that. Sarah says, okay, love you all. Have fun without me. We'll try, Sarah. Take care. Thanks for joining, for coming back in and joining the stream. If you are still around, be sure to check back, and maybe we'll be in the Q&A. So I hope you come back for that if you're free. But take care, Sarah. Midnight Dubstep says, hey buddy, just came to say hello. Well, hello to you too, Midnight Dubstep. I got to get back to donating plasma while watching Lord of the Rings Extended Edition. Ah, it's funny that Lord of the Rings animated movie has come out, and rather than go to watch that in theaters, you're watching the Lord of the Rings at home. That says a lot, that does. I think, I don't even know what I haven't looked at the box office numbers for that new Lord of the Rings movie, but it seems like a lot of people would rather just stay at home and watch Lord of the Rings at home than watch that new animated movie over there. Apparently the only reason they made that animated Lord of the Rings movie is just so they can keep the rights. Why does that not surprise me? Electrify says, I heard Warner Brothers fast-tracked Lord of the Rings. Well, here's the thing. That Lord of the Rings, ever since I saw the animation of it, that new movie, to me, it always looked like that Castlevania show on Netflix. I was like, why is this in theaters? Apparently, they just wanted to keep the IP, apparently, so maybe I think that's why they made the movie. I would rather have them have tax-righted this Lord of the Rings movie off than that Coyote versus Acme movie. Sonic says, Captain Eric, want to start a podcast about why Joker Folia Doo-Doo is by far the worst movie this year. Oh, he says, he's asking me, want to start a podcast about why Joker Folia Doo-Doo is by far the worst movie this year? I'll pay you just to be there. Well, if it comes to that, just message me on Patreon. Get in touch with me and we can talk. Or you can contact me through Instagram, if you're being serious about that kind of thing. But usually I conduct that kind of stuff on those platforms, not on live streams. Khan says, hey, Castlevania has S-tier animation. I'm not saying the animation's bad, it was great. But the standard for animation on TV it just keeps elevating. We got Arcane, we got many shows that are elevating the animation. So to see animation like the Lord of the Rings, War for Rohirrim, I don't know how to pronounce that word. The animation for that doesn't seem like it's on a cinematic level. It seems to me like it would fit on streaming, as a streaming movie, but not as a theatre movie. Trevor says, should I watch this show, Arcane? Trevor, the thing I would say about Arcane is watch the first 3 episodes. Watch them from beginning to end. 1, 2, 3. Watch those, and if you're not into the show by then, you don't have to watch the rest. But to me, those first 3 episodes are the best part of the entire season. I've not seen season 2 yet, but it's the best part to me, so I'd recommend just watching it that way, alright? That's what I would say. Sonic, that's a very good idea, but I've not thought about doing that. I've thought more about in the past of doing live streams of playing games that I'm actually playing for real. Like the Spider-Man 2 game, for example. I was actually thinking of streaming that live for you guys to see. So I'll consider it. We'll see. Colin says, I will say something about Arcane Season 2, is that it did feel a little rushed at times, especially at the end. I've heard people say that. Let's hope they didn't rush it, because it took so long for that show to come out. And apparently they wrote those scripts at the same back-to-back at the same time. So I'd be surprised if it was rushed. Alright, everyone. We're going to move on to the next story now. Joshman says, Eric, are you still going to go and check out the new Lord of the Rings anime film in theaters? Probably not. I was going to originally and do another car review, like I did with Craven recently, but I'm too busy. I've got these other videos to edit, and then I've also got the Sonic one to prepare for, so I haven't got time. So I probably won't. Plus, no one's anticipating that Lord of the Rings movie. Has anyone here seen it? Gone to theaters and seen that Lord of the Rings movie? Big Bash, I'm just eating these fruit gums. You asked me a couple times what am I eating. I just felt like chewing on something. Sometimes helps you think. Also, I feel like water. I didn't have any, so I just took that. Big Bash like there is a Lord of the Rings movie? Yeah, it's an anime movie. I don't know if you're kidding and just funny joke if you are. The G Gamer says it's either that movie or Kraven the Hunter. I've not even looked at the reviews for that Lord of the Rings movie. I don't even know if it's good or not. Venom Last Dance was trash. Glad I didn't watch Kraven. Ooh, excuse me. Alright. Next story. Sony and their spin-off movies. Now, apologies for not putting these in like a neat order, but I thought it was very reminiscent of Sony and how they've been treating these films. Just scattered messes is what these are. So I thought I'll just, rather than line these up and everything, I thought I'll just leave them all like scattered like that. And we'll keep Sony's name on top as well. Good Time says it best. Rest in peace. Or, in this case, rest in pieces. So yeah, as you can see, this is quite an ugly sight to look at. This is the Sony spin-off movies that they have. Jack says pain. Pain. Yep, we all feel pain just looking at this. But yeah, this is ultimately their movies. After the first Venom, they did the rest of these, and boy, were they not good, but they did them anyway. The worst ones, of course, that are renowned for how bad they are, is Morbius, Madam Web, and now Craven is added to that list. What pieces of shit these all are. So yeah, this is basically what they've done. And the interesting thing that I really wanted to talk about here is, not only did I want to point and laugh at what they've done here, but some information came out recently through a Variety article. And basically what the Variety article said, this is very interesting. They said essentially that it was never a part of the deal between Sony and Marvel that they couldn't use Tom Holland in these villain spin-off movies. So apparently, we always thought it was in the deal that Tom Holland could not be in these movies, which is why Sony never did it. Turns out, that was never stipulated in their deal. So they were never told they couldn't. So technically, Tom Holland could have been in all these films, but Sony chose not to put him in it. So all this time, they've been saying that, oh, don't worry, in Venom, it'll happen, we'll put Spider-Man in there. They never were. Maybe they were at some point going to do it, but they never went through with it. The reason why is because I think they must have deep down known that these films suck and they don't want to taint their Spider-Man by putting him in it. So they said, you know what, let's take him out. Although there were rumors, if I remember correctly, that Spider-Man was apparently going to be mentioned in Madam Web a lot. That they were going to try to make sure that he was born, basically. If you remember, there was rumors like in the early 2000s they were going to go back in time to protect young Peter Parker, so he lives. So he lives and he doesn't die, so he can still exist. That's essentially what they were going to do, but I think then they took out all the references to Spider-Man and they changed everything to make it out like that villain in Madam Web was coming after those three girls instead. So that's why you have all that, especially with the villain, you got all that terrible dubbing where all his lines are dubbed over. Because he was going after those girls, is what it apparently was. Apparently Spider-Man was the one that was supposed to have taken him down in the future. So he was going to the past to take Spider-Man down. And then those other Spider-Women were trying to protect him. But then, like I said, Sony realized it was shit. And they pulled all references out of Spider-Man out of there. Including all references of him in the Morbius movie. At the last second, if you remember, there was some Spider-Man diagrams and stuff in the trailer. They pulled those out. Because they were like, we don't want to have any reference of Spider-Man in Morbius. And they did the same in Madam Web. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did the same in Kraven the Hunter as well. But yeah, Sony, it turns out they were never going to put Spider-Man in there because they deep down knew these movies were shit. And they didn't want to affiliate their Spider-Man with it. They knew, even though they would tell everyone, no, they're great, they knew they weren't great. And they knew they were going to taint their own character if they put him in. So that's why they just tried to take him out. And yeah, it is really embarrassing. Like, seriously, look at this work over here. It is just such an embarrassment right here. It really is. Just look at just looking at one of these movies would make me feel ashamed if they were mine. But Sony, you have to look at all 6 and know that is theirs. So yeah, these were terrible, and it is quite the revelation that Sony all this time could have put Tom Holland in here, but they didn't. So, yeah, that's quite fascinating, that is, because all this time, all these years, we thought they just couldn't, but turns out they could. They just didn't want to, because they knew these movies were shit. Yep, Jack, Gene, Havoc, you could have had Spider-Man in all of these if you wanted to, but they just didn't do it. Big Bash says, the failure is deserved. A universe without Spider-Man should never exist. Holly Smith says, my eyes hurt. The G-Gamer says, if you offered a 6-way versus video commission, imagine this, lol. Shit, the idea of a 6-way versus videos with all of these. I'd probably just die. I think the shock would kill me, honestly. I'm just thinking, what would I charge for a 6-way versus video commission? I'd probably have to think of that one. It'd probably be $2,000, I think. You know what? I'd probably say $2,000. I'd say $2,000 commission. I'll make the 6-way versus video between these films. So if there is some rich person out there who happens to have heard me say that, that will be his little fun way of just throwing away some change. But I don't expect that from anyone. Good Time says 6,000, 1,000 for each film. Yeah, I wouldn't do that to you guys. That's too much. 2,000 is like basically like the only one time I would do something like that. But yeah, for my own sanity, I'd feel like there has to be a give and take. If I did this versus video, it would just be give, and it would just be take. It would not be give. So that's the problem there. Jack Jean says, I'm on disability. Well, so will I. Once I finish doing the versus video for these, I'd be on disability as well. I think my brain would just crash. I think I'd lose all the brain cells in my head. Man, can South Park make of Sony next? Like they did to Disney. Lol, that would be funny, wouldn't it? If South Park made fun of Sony after making fun of Disney all this time. It'd be fun if they did make fun. It'd be funny if they did make fun of of Sony. I'd love to see that, especially Cartman and all that. That'd be funny. Is there any films that you watched that were so bad you turned it off? I think there must be one where I did that. Yeah, the one I can remember is it was an anime movie of Iron Man. At the time I was watching, this was like in like 2008, 2009. I was watching a lot of DC animated stuff, and I thought, you know what? Let's watch a Marvel animated thing. And I watched an animated movie of Iron Man. And I think it was anime inspired. And it was so bad that I just stopped. I couldn't watch it. Let me see if I can find it. It might have been the Invincible Iron Man, I think. This one. I think it was this one. Let me see. I think my brightness is a bit high. Let's bring it down. There you go. It was this one, I think, if I remember correctly. I think it was that one. I saw that. I was like, oh, that poster looks cool. I thought, let's give this a watch. And I watched it. And I watched about half of it, I think. Or under half of it. And I was like, man, this is so boring. I feel like I'm falling asleep. I was getting annoyed with how boring it was. So I turned it off. There might be another movie where I did that as well. But this is the only one I can think of, I think. That's clear to me. I think that's the only one that I can think of. The others, here's the thing: if it's a bad movie and you turned it off, it's because it was so bad you want to forget. So it's hard to remember which are the ones you've turned off. Kevin has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Kevin. Again for another super chat. Kevin says Chris Rock only compared Jada to a film without being mean. Yeah. I mean, compared to what comedians have done, they could make so much darker jokes, I think, honestly. But he didn't. So yeah, it was a stupid thing that Will Smith did. It was pathetic. Sonic says, so when is the Q&A? Well, I thought we were still talking about these. Oh, Sarah. Sarah's popped up in the stream again. She goes, hey Eric, what's the best Sony superhero movie? Well, the best Sony superhero movie to me is Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie. To me, that is the best one. King Charles III says, as the King of England, I respectfully command a Morbius versus Madam Web video. Yeah, only if you pay me. Only if you pay me, King of England. I'm not doing that for free. That would kill me. I need to get something in return for that. Holy Smith says, Your Majesty. He ain't real. Don't fall for it. Alright then, so. I would say rest in peace, but I wouldn't mean it. So, in other words, I'll mean this. Piss off, Sony villain spin-off universe. Oh, feels so much better not to look at them anymore. Not to look at those. Alright, so now we're at the Q&A. So you guys can go ahead, ask me questions. You can do Super Chats or Streamlabs Chats, whatever you want to do. Just your time to start asking questions now. What about the worst Sony movie, says Sarah. The worst movie, Sarah, would be Kraven the Hunter. I don't know if you've seen my review, but I just reviewed Kraven the Hunter. I think it was today or yesterday. Give it a watch, and you'll see why I think it's the worst of all these Sony spin-off movies, including it's even worse than Madam Web, in my opinion. Elite says 6-way versus video of Sony Marvel movies equals losing brain cells. Losing all brain cells, I think. Oh, Movie King 3000, great to see you, buddy. I've just finished all the stories just now. We just got into the Q&A. Screw the Sony versus Sarah. Yep. So, have you seen the new Young Sheldon sequel show, says the Dark Lord? I've not seen the last 2 episodes. They took a little break, I think, during Thanksgiving. But I did watch the Thanksgiving episode. That was a really good one. But I still have to see the next 2 episodes. I like to see those episodes when I've got myself some tea and I just feel like I'm in that zone, in that mode, to watch something like that. Then I'll watch it. But I like to just let them come out whilst I'm doing other things, and then I have more to watch at once. Sarah says, okay, I gotta go. My friend is throwing snow at my face. Thanks, Eric. See you next time. Yeah, Sarah, take care. I thought you were not with your friend anymore, I thought, but it turns out you still are. Take care. I hope you still have a great time with your friend. And if you still can, join this live stream, the Q&A if you can, if you're finished with your friend. If not, enjoy the rest of the day. Dead Wolf says Paramount is much better than Sony. At least they don't make dumb decisions. Well, have you seen the Transformers movies? They've made dumb decisions as well. It's just they haven't got as much franchises on their hands to abuse like other studios have. Take care, Sarah. Guys, where's my bleach? I need it after seeing a poster of Joker 2. That was dark, Sonic. Transformers 1 was great, says Kevin. Yeah, I still gotta see that. Khan says, but at least Paramount was smart enough to redesign Sonic, unlike with Sony when they make their spin-off universe. That is true. Paramount did something big there. That was very good of them. And it's something which we're still benefiting from with each of these movies. So yeah, hopefully Paramount will continue to do a great job in this area. Here's hoping. Trevor says, did you see the 28 Years Later trailer? I did. It actually was a cool trailer. Even when I watched Kraven the Hunter recently, the trailer showed up in theaters. And it was a very good trailer. I was very impressed with it. I really was. So I just have not seen the previous 2 movies, so I need to see those before watching this whenever it comes out. Which I think it comes out in June, isn't it? Which is my birthday for next year. That's the month of my birthday. Fireboy says, I'm going to take a nap. Bye everyone. Take care, Fireboy. Thanks for joining the stream. Goat says, who should play Batman in the DCU? In my opinion, Scott Adkins would be a good choice. It needs to be someone more special. Scott Adkins is quite a boring choice. He's got very good with his stunts, but if you want a good stunt double for Batman, you can easily do that and hire Scott Adkins then, but you don't need him to be the main Batman, I don't think. Big Bash says, Eric, what are you going to do to celebrate turning 30? I don't know. I've not really. I don't take birthdays that seriously. I like to get gifts and stuff, but even if I don't, I don't. To me, aging when you turn 30, I don't. It's not really something to celebrate for me personally. I think I would just have fun on that day. I'll just chill out, watch movies, maybe play some games, maybe get some food, you know. But I wouldn't. That's basically all I do, though. That's all I do normally on birthdays. So I don't know if I'd be doing that. I don't know if I'd be doing. Yeah, I don't really know how I'd be celebrating it. I mean, if you guys give me ideas, by all means. Big Bash says, "Do you feel old, Eric?" No, I don't feel old, but age usually does come with responsibilities, and I always do feel like those responsibilities are weighing down on me when I get older. Deadwolf says the 28-year later trailer was amazing. The skinny zombie has been sticking on my head. Yeah, that was a very good trailer. I was very impressed with it. Elite says, whoa, who are you talking to? Yes, that game was so fun back time, and I used to be on the game 24/7. Which game were you on, Elite? Which game are you talking about? King Charles says, does your Craven review contain spoilers, or am I free to watch it straight away? No spoilers. I'll describe the audacity of certain scenes, how crazy they are, but no, there's no spoilers. I made sure not to do any spoilers. Big Bash says, my dad doesn't like his birthday. It reminds him he is getting older. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing with me. It reminds me I'm getting older. It's so weird to see that you're becoming, like, you know, 30. When I was a kid, I thought I would never turn 30. It felt like that was so far away it would be another lifetime. But here we are. Saeed says, I'm turning 23 next year. Ugh, I don't like getting older. Well, 23 is... If you look at my age, to me, I'm like, man, I wish I could be 23 again. It's like, you know, so you'll be lucky for whatever age you are. That's kind of what I also tell myself about being 29 right now. And then being 30. When I'm 30, I'll tell myself that too. People who are 40 will be like, damn, I wish I was 30. So, yeah, it really... You know, everyone's going to wish they were younger than they are. So appreciate the age you are. That's something that I also try to do. Jester's going to be 21 next year. Cool. Deadwolf says, in 9 years, I'd be 30 years old. Yeah, so you're 21 right now. Cool. It's interesting to think. I started these Versus videos, I think it was 7 years ago. So it's interesting to think that how old were you guys 7 years ago? And if some of you are still been watching my channel since that whole time, how old were you when you started watching my channel, and how old are you now? It's like you guys have grown with me. Khan says, I've watched you for 7 years. Wow, that's a long, long time. But I thank you for that, buddy. I really do. Let me just boost up the saturation here. Oh man, that is too much. Too much. There we go. That should do, I think. Alright, anyway. Eric, I'm turning 30 next year. I'm sad now, says Source Fierce. Well, you and me both. We're both turning 30 next year. So it'll be both of us. Oh, Trevor says, I've been watching you for 6 years, Eric. Oh, cool. I was 11 when I started watching in 2018, and 6 years later, I'm 18. Oh, wow, Big Bash. I never knew that you were watching me when you were that age. Good Time says, I started fully watching your channel from Sonic 1 versus Detective Pikachu. Oh, cool. So it means you must have really enjoyed that video. Even at 30, Eric, we still call you our captain. Yeah. What will you call me when I'm 40, though? I wonder. I appreciate that, Con. I'm turning 20 next year. My friends call me old because I'm the oldest. Well, you're not as old as this guy. Big Bash says next year I'll be 19. Holly Smith says, I generally enjoy content with this type of style. It makes me want to tune in. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad. That means a lot. Thanks for that. The first video, Goat says, the first video I watched was Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla vs. King Kong versus Godzilla vs. Kong versus King Kong versus Godzilla. Right. Yeah, that was a big video that I made. That was a big one. Got a lot of views and everything. That's a long time ago that you've been watching, so you've been watching for a good long while. Cool. Syed says, bruh, it's crazy, Eric, that you were in your early 20s 7 years ago. Yeah, that's when I was making Versus videos, when I started making Versus videos, and it was a brand new show that I was making. And I was making videos even before that as well, so I've made all kinds of videos going back before, you know, my movie reviewer days. I turned 27 this year, says Joshman. Oh, well, I turned 29 this year. The Movie King says, I hope Sony just sticks to making animated Spider-Man movies because that's where they shine the most. Yeah, that's where they shine because that's where they keep their nose out the most. Oh, wow. Charleston says, I started watching since your Lego movie versus Lego Batman movie versus video. That was the second versus video I ever made, that was. So, actually, no, that was the Lego movie versus Lego Batman movie. Is that what you... Yeah, that's what you did. Yeah, you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, that was the first versus video I ever made. That was... So, wow, that's, sorry, second versus video I ever made, so wow, that's, you've been around there since the beginning. Thanks, Charleston, I really appreciate that. Goat says, do you think DC is announcing too many projects? Yes and no, because I like when they say that their scripts are complete and they're happy with it, and that's when they greenlight the movie, and that's when they're getting made. As opposed to Marvel, where they just greenlight them way too early before they've even got on a script, and now we have Blade in the situation it's in, and it's like, but you announced it how many years ago? It's like they announced it before they even had a script. Elite has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Elite. He says, what's your favorite major Hollywood studio? For me, it was always Warner Brothers. You know, I always found Warner Brothers having the best movies, in my opinion. Disney have got really good movies as well, but Warner Brothers, to me, they were like... To me, back growing up, they had such a great variety. Like, Batman Begins, like, Nolan's Batman's movies were newly coming out, and then we also had a lot of great animated movies from them, like The Iron Giant as well. And to me, Warner Brothers always meant more adult cartoons, like Batman the Animated Series. We also had the Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny and stuff, which was so cool. So for me, it was always Warner Brothers for that reason. Sonic says, Captain Eric, I think I've started watching your videos since the Wonder Woman vs. Wonder Woman 84 versus video. Oh, cool. Holly Smith says, Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate is a very memorable film. It's likely that it is hilariously bad, or you'll be able to get through it. Let's hope I can get through it, because I'm going to be watching that in the next couple of weeks. So basically during the start of COVID, said Sonic. Oh, cool. Nice. Jess says, and the Monsterverse, Eric. Don't forget about the Monsterverse. Yeah, they've got some cool stuff like that as well. What is that image? Oh, that's what it was. It was a donation. Alex has donated £1. Thank you very much, Alex. He says, once Sonic 3 comes out, are you going to do a Versus video on it? Also, did you see the promotional posters for the movies paying homage to Christmas movies? As well as Paramount selling ugly Christmas sweaters featuring ugly Sonic. No, I must have missed those. The Christmas posters and the Christmas sweaters. I was like, oh, that's interesting, that is. In terms of Sonic 3, yes, I'm going to do a versus video. I'm going to do a versus video of Sonic 2 versus Sonic 3 because I've done plenty of versus videos of the first Sonic movie. I don't want to have to do it again. I feel like I've just covered it so much now. I really do, so... yeah, I'm going to do Sonic 2 with Sonic 3. Funny thing is that I need to watch Sonic 2 again because I watched it... I watched it years ago now when it came out, but I've not seen it again, and so much stuff I've forgotten about it, and I can't even give you a score. Some people have asked me, what score do I give Sonic 2? And I don't know, because I've forgotten, so I need to see it again. So I'll be watching it again before this third movie comes out, I will be. The Sonic 3 premiere was in the UK. Okay, cool. Let's hope the movie did a good job. I certainly hope it did. Batman's Gamer says, what did I miss? You missed everything, buddy. We've finished the stories, and now we're on to everything else. Joshman says, Eric, I was asking you a question. Where is your question? Eric, I do have a question. Do you think Madam Web and Venom the Last Dance and Kraven the Hunter are on your absolute worst movies of the year list? I'm not going to tell you what's on my worst movies of the year list. You're going to have to wait and see. Big Bash says, do you think Sonic 3 will push the PG rating? I hope it does, but I don't know. Hey, let's hope it does. Really hope it does push the rating. What is up, Eric, says Connor. Sonic 3 cannot come soon enough. Yeah, I know, it's coming out this upcoming week. Christmas. Well, it's a week and a half, actually. What am I talking about? It's 10 days it's supposed to be at this point. So, yeah, we still got a bit of time. King Charles says, what time will the stream be on till? We'll have another 30-minute stream, and then we'll call it a day. So pumped for Nosferatu, says Trevor. For Nosferatu, for us in the UK, it doesn't come out until the 1st of January. So it's more of a New Year movie for us, so I can't review it for you instantly. I did see the trailer when I saw Kraven, though. It looks really quite freaky. This upcoming week will be the start of winter break, says Big Bash. Cool. In Serbia, it comes out on December 26th, says Goat. That's like a day after Sonic. So, yeah. Might be a hot take, says Grimace. I think The Amazing Spider-Man 1 is really underrated. That's fair enough. I've heard people really like that movie as well. For me, it was just too dull. I like elements of it. I did not like the Lizard as the villain. I was really not a fan of his design and how the movie was not colorful. There was something dull about it. Eric, I do have another question, but do you think the Kraven the Hunter was a PG-13 movie with an R rating slapped on it? Yes, I do. The story was so confused. It did not need to. It was not an R-rated story. I don't think it was. Connor says, I'm still waiting for Romulus, Transformers 1, Wild Robot, and Terrifier 3 to all hit streaming for free. Yeah, that's fair enough. I still gotta see Transformers 1 and the Wild Robot. I really need to come more prepared, I think, and have more water at my disposal for these streams. I used to, but I've not been doing it lately. I think it's more down to laziness than anything. Green Arrow or The Flash? Which show is better, says Goat. The better show of Arrow or Flash, I'd say it's Flash. Flash surprisingly went some really good places, but at the same time, the first 3 seasons of Arrow I really enjoyed. So Arrow was a great show, but like with both of them, they always stop. Oh, Big Bash, I'm not starving myself. I ate before this stream, so I'm fine. I'll have a green tea or something when the stream is over, so I'll have something else. But I'm fine. I'm not hungry. I'm just having something whilst I'm streaming. Batman's Gamer has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very much for that, buddy. He says, I hear Superman trailer will come next week. Yes, it's going to come this upcoming week. And then later, it'll start... The beginning of the week, it'll just be for members of the press and stuff. Then later in the week, it will be for everyone, for all of us. And I'll do a trailer reaction, which will be on my Patreon. So be sure to become a Patreon member. In the description below, there's a link to Patreon. Or hit the join button below and become a YouTube member, and you'll also get the trailer reaction there as well. Holly Smith says, Disney is very consistent at being inconsistent. True, totally true. Joshua says, Eric, I do have another question. Out of the 3 R-rated comic book movies, which one do you think is the worst? And which one do you think is the best one that came out this year? 3 R-rated comic book. Oh, you mean Deadpool, Wolverine, Joker 2, and Kraven. The worst one is Kraven. Best one is Deadpool and Wolverine, and then you have Joker 2, which was its own. I'd say it's in the middle. Yeah, that one's a game. That's what I meant. It'll be an event, and then for press, and then it will be on YouTube. Well, I don't know if it'll be on YouTube. Oh, you mean the trailer will be on YouTube? I thought you meant the event will be on YouTube. There's a lot of questions here, guys, so if you do want me to get to your question, like I said, using Streamlabs or Super Chatting really does help to get it on my radar, because there is a lot that I'm scrolling through here. Funny thing is that they put Mufasa 2 days early, but Sonic 3 much later. Such a bust. Well, Mufasa and Sonic are supposed to both come out on the same day, so that'll be really funny. We're all going to see that Sonic is going to kick Disney's ass on the big screen. Big Bash says, Eric, what do you like most about the 2003 TMNT cartoon? I love its sense of tone. All the turtles are funny in their own way. They've all got their own personalities. But it's a very dark show it can get as well. In fact, it got so dark at one point with a bit of body horror for Donatello, where he was mutating into something and he was in such pain that they actually had to edit it for TV at a point. So they really got quite dark with it. And the 2003 Turtles cartoon is the first time I saw a decapitation. It was amazing, man. It really was. I never saw a decapitation, but I saw it on Turtles. It's Leonardo and the Shredder. They both fight. They do that slow motion clash where they jump and shing, then they both land here, and you're waiting for one of them to fall down. Did Leo get struck, or did Leo get struck, or did the Shredder get struck? Who's gonna get taken down? Who hurt the other? And you're waiting for the person to fall to their knees for one of them to be the loser. And I'm like, who's gonna fall to their knees? Who's gonna fall to their knees? And then Shredder's head falls off, and the music reacts to his head falling off, and it was all big and epic. And then you see Shredder's decapitated body just fall onto the ground. Then the Turtles all put their weapons back, and they came over and had a look at his dead body, and it was like the music was happy, like they had finally done it, like they succeeded, they've accomplished something. And they've done the impossible. And it was like, wow, that was so epic. That was in a Saturday morning cartoon for kids in my time. That was great. Goat said, I'm excited for Captain America Brave New World, but I do understand why you think it will flop. Yeah, there's no good word of mouth coming for this movie. It seems like it's in genuine trouble. If it was not in trouble, they would not be doing reshoots so close to its release date. They're going to do reshoots this month. They were doing reshoots last month. And rumor is that they might do reshoots on January, which is 1 month before the movie comes out. That's the kind of reshoots that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was doing. 1 month before the movie came out in theaters, they saw Paul Rudd doing some reshoots. It's crazy down there. Hui Tunmo, I don't think that Wicked being a success at $500 million worldwide will start an Oz movie renaissance. I think that they've got another Oz movie coming out because Wicked is split into 2 parts, which they shot back to back. So they'll have another one coming out, but I don't think that you're going to have someone else coming in and saying, all right, now let's make our Wizard of Oz. I don't think it's going to do that well. Josh, man, the reason I think Deadpool Wolverine is the best R-rated comic book movie that came out this year is because A, it was successful, and B, the reason it's successful is because it gave us two superheroes that we wanted to see, as opposed to, and they were popular superheroes, as opposed to all these other superheroes that Marvel are trying to sell us on, but they're not doing good jobs at convincing us why we should care. Oh, Good Times has done another donation. It's €2, if I'm getting that right. Thank you very much, buddy. And he says, what was your first DC film in cinema? Mine will be Superman. My first DC movie in theaters was Batman Begins. If I remember correctly. Yeah, Batman Begins. Jess has done a $2 super chat. Thank you for the super chats, everyone. You guys know how much they help me out and really help support the channel. Jess says, the best Joker movie of 2024 is Terrifier 3. Agree? Yes, I do agree, buddy. Everyone agrees, I think, with that assessment. Oh, Connor's first DC movie was Aquaman. So was Batman's Gamer. Goat says, how many movies that came out in 2024 did you watch? I watched 6 or 7. I haven't got a list, so I can't tell you. I've seen quite a few movies that have come out this year. Trevor says, my first DC movie that I saw in the theatre was The Dark Knight Rises. Ooh, cool. I've seen all 3 of Nolan's Batman movies in theatres. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. I've seen all 3 of them. And I'm happy to say I have. I also saw Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith in theatres. I also saw X-Men 2, X-Men 3. I think I saw all the X-Men movies in theatres except for X-Men Origins Wolverine. Joey Nicholas says, my first was Batman vs. Superman. Ooh. Sonic says, Captain Eric flexing. Big Bash says, Eric, what is your opinion on The Dark Knight Rises? I love The Dark Knight Rises. I don't think it's as good as the other 2 movies, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. But I think it was still really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I watched it 3 times in the theatre, and I don't do that often. Joey Nicholas says, do you think Sonic 3 will cross the $500 to $600 million mark? I'm hoping it makes $1 billion. That would be a really good result for a movie like that. But it depends how good it is. Let's hope it's good first. Joshman says, Eric, out of the 2 movies that are going to be coming out this upcoming weekend, which one do you think is going to end up? Which one do you think is going to end up winning the most? Sonic the Hedgehog or the boring, lifeless Mufasa? Of course it'll be Sonic. Everyone knows it's going to be Sonic. Mufasa is in trouble. It's not in a good place. Electrify says, by the way, Eric, my username was inspired by the words Eli and Electrify. That's actually a pretty creative name. I do like the way you've written it as well, with a number 1 in there. Sonic says, the only reason why I'm going to watch Mufasa is because my parents want to watch it, since they are a fan of the original Lion King. Even though Mufasa is live action, but whatever. Yeah, I still don't understand that, because not only I'm a fan of the original Lion King, but I know this is nowhere near as good. It's not got the life of the animation, that the animation has. It just looks very dull in comparison, and it's almost a bastardization of the original story from the cartoon, because they're saying that Scar and Mufasa are not blood brothers. Mufasa is essentially adopted into the family, and it's like that's just changing it for the sake of changing it, because Disney don't want to go as hard as they used to. Like when they said a brother kills a brother, it's like they're saying no, 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 he wasn't technically the real brother. So it's like, yeah, it's just stupid. Just leave it as it is. What are you doing? I'm aware, Batman's Gamer, that Clayface will be produced by Matt Reeves. I even talked about it and saying how I did not like that exactly. Because it's a DCU movie, not a Matt Reeves movie. When they have him produce it, it's confusing for the rest of us. Batman's Gamer says the Batman Part 2 is getting delayed to 2027. No, it's not. We've not heard any truth to that yet, so you can't make that assessment until we get news on it. If they are able to start shooting the movie in the first few months of 2025, it should make its 2026 release date. Barry Jenkins is directing the movie, though, but I feel like Disney will just take control away from him, says Joey Nichols. They will, and I bet you they have, because the director, Barry Jenkins, basically said that this movie, there's an article where he basically said he didn't have a good time making it, and he says that this is not something he's going to do again. So, yeah, I bet you Disney have put their fingers in it. He clearly didn't have fun with it. Yeah, Batman's Gamer, the script hasn't been done, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to maybe get shooting the movie in the first few months of 2025. Could still happen, so we'll have to wait and see. Josh, man, the main reason I think it's going to bomb the Mufasa is because no one wants it. No one wants it. No one cares about it. It's a story that no one wants to see, and they've also bastardized the original story by saying that Mufasa is not the blood brother of Scar, but instead he's like the adopted brother. So there's a lot of shit in there where I'm like, we really don't need this. And now the director has even come out, which feels like saying that he said that he didn't really enjoy making this movie and it's not something he would want to do again. That sounds like, if you read, I'm paraphrasing, but if you read what he actually said and how he said it, that's not something a director would say about their upcoming movie. The fact he's saying it means that he does not have confidence in it. So this is him almost trying to, like, distance himself from the movie before it actually hits theaters. So, yeah. Batman's Gamer says, poor Aaron Pierre. Well, not so much poor him, because he could do a good job for all we know. The movie comes down to Disney, and I think it's Disney that are going to be screwing it, like they have been screwing all of their Disney live-action remakes. Joshua says, Eric, did you state that the director of Mufasa is stepping out and being silent about it? I didn't state any of that. I just said that he did an interview where sounds like he was not impressed with the movie or not overly optimistic about it. He said he didn't enjoy making it, and he goes that it's not for him, and meaning that he doesn't want to do something like that again. That's usually code for I don't have faith in this movie. Because if they do have faith in the movie, he would have just still tried to take credit for it because he knew he could get the praise for it. The fact he's saying what he's saying shows he doesn't have really confidence, and he's trying to slowly distance himself from it. So we'll see what happens. The movie's just right around the corner at this point. The G-Gamer says, with the amount of hits box office-wise Disney has had this year, it's going to be funny that their last 2024 movie is a bomb/flop. Yeah, that is going to be funny. It'll also be funny because guess what comes out after Mufasa? It'll be the new Captain America Brave New World movie. And guess what comes out after the Brave New World movie? Snow White. So, they've had some hits this year, but the next 3 films, I bet you are going to be a bomb. They're going to flop from Disney. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to watch Deck the Halls, Jess. I saw that on their writing filmography or whatever, and yeah, it's not something I'm interested in, to be brutally honest with you. Elite says 2025 is going to be going to be another flop for Disney. I'm putting $1 million on it. Yeah, it looks like it is going to be. I don't know what else they got coming out that year. It's like I have to refresh myself on that. But yeah, they've got Fantastic Four coming out as well. What else? They've got Daredevil coming out on Disney Plus as well in that first half of the year, I think, in March or something. Josh says, Eric, do you see the look at the dwarves for the Snow White remake? They look absolutely atrocious. I hate the look of the dwarves. This Snow White remake looks absolutely atrocious. I'm not saying... If you watch my trailer reaction on Patreon or YouTube memberships, I actually watched the recent Snow White trailer and I was not impressed with it. I even talked about the dwarves as well. Yeah, Sonic. Thunderbolts is coming out in, I think it's June, is it? My birthday month. So yeah, that doesn't look like it's going to be any good either. Am I excited for Daredevil Born Again? Says Goat. No, I'm not excited for it, buddy. I'm more concerned. I hope they do a good job, but I don't trust Disney, especially considering how they screwed the show up and they had to start again. So yeah. If Snow White and such makes big bucks, then I'll watch it with super speakers. Yeah, it shouldn't. I'll be surprised if it did, because if you look at the viewership numbers on the trailer, no one seems to care. If you look at the dislike ratio and compare it to the like ratio, it's getting mass disliked. I even disliked it as well. And no one cares about this. And no one likes Rachel Zegler these days. And no one likes Gal Gadot these days either. So, yeah. DreamWorks and Paramount on top recently, says Good Times. Yeah, they seem to be. But we'll see what happens. Hawkeye somehow got lucky with Fisk. Yeah, that was ridiculous. Kingpin should have easily been able to take him down. Especially now that he has superpowers, but he didn't take him down. And then what happened with... in the Echo show, he should have easily been able to take him down with his superpowers, but he didn't have superpowers there for some reason. It's so bizarre. That's not what I meant or referred to. What do you mean then? Hawkeye somehow got lucky with Fisk. That's what it sounded like to me. Like, you know, that it was so... that he got... But then again, he didn't even fight Fisk, did he? Oh, that's what you mean. Not really. A lot of people didn't like what they did with Fisk in the Hawkeye show. Like the Hawaiian shirt and stuff. And even me, when I was looking back on it, I was like, how did he get taken out so easily? Joey says, looking back, Spider-Man 2 PS5 was disappointing. It was very disappointing. Very disappointing. Big Bash says, Insomniac Spider-Man 2 needed better writers. It needed much better writers. Batman's Gamer says, what movie was Jeremy Renner filming when he got injured? I can't remember what movie he was filming when he got injured. I can't remember the name of it. I don't think he was filming a movie. Wasn't he just having fun time out or something? Like just living life and then it happened? Or was it when he was shooting a movie? Do you think the DCU will overtake the MCU, says Go? I think it will. That being said, we've not seen a single movie come out of them yet, so we have to see what the Superman movie is like. Supersonic says, I don't think Insomniac Spider-Man 2 is that disappointing. To me, it was very disappointing. There's a lot of writing shortcuts they did, and they rushed a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff they did was forced. Peter with the symbiote suit when he was regressing, and how his friends didn't even tell him about it, and they were just Mary Jane was just starting to point a gun at him. It was just so pathetic and stupid. I was like, this is now forcing it to have him not trust them. It had to be done in a way where at least they told him what he did before she started pulling a gun on him, but she didn't even tell him. And then she just pointed the gun at him straight away. It's like, what was he going to think there? You'd screw that up. But it felt like they were forcing that kind of writing just so he would get angry. Trevor, I've only seen the first episode of Skeleton Crew, and I thought it was nothing special. Jess, if you want to get that game, get it. But I don't think the game is as good as it could have been, and I thought the story was not as good either, because I was expecting Spider-Man 2 to kind of like be like what Batman Arkham City was to Batman Arkham Asylum, and it wasn't. It felt more like it was just Spider-Man 1.5 than it did a full-on Spider-Man 2, if I'm being honest with you. Good Time says, hope we hear about Marvel Wolverine by Insomniac soon. I can't wait for it. Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I don't really care about the game, to be honest, anymore. Insomniac, I've lost faith and trust in them. So I'll play it whenever it comes out on PC, but I'm not going to rush for it. Batman's game with the writing and story did suffer for that Spider-Man game. And I didn't like how they took the gadgets away. That was in the first game. They took the gadgets away, and they kept a couple of the boring gadgets. And it just felt more like a brawler, whereas the first game felt like you could be a brawler with it, or you could be strategic. But I feel like they took the strategic element away from the combat and made it too much of a brawler. Okay, 5 more minutes with the stream, and then we'll end it. So if you've got any questions, get them out there right now, because we're going to end the stream in 5 minutes. Big Bash says, I hate when studios announce a game and don't release it until years after and fix it afterwards. Yeah, I hate that too. That's why I say, one of the reasons I say modern games are just not doing it for me anymore like they should be. And why older games have been doing it for me. And I've been playing those because I missed out on a lot of games when I was younger. I never had a PS3 or a 360 or a PS2. I only had I had none of those for a while until I turned 12, and then I asked my uncle to get me a Nintendo DS. And then 2 years after that, I asked him to get me a PSP because I couldn't play console games at home, so I only had those two. And then years and years and years and years later, I ended up getting a PS4. And then from that, I just got a Steam Deck, and I'm happy with my Steam Deck. Khan says, did you watch a Christmas movie called Klaus? You have what? If you have, what are your thoughts on it? I did watch it when it came out. I loved that movie. I think it was directed... Was it directed by the animators of the Aladdin movie from Disney in the early 90s? It was great. It really was. Had a fantastic time with it. Really enjoyed it. And it was a nice Christmas movie. I thought it was far better than what you would expect a Christmas movie to be on Netflix, to be honest with you. It had a lot of heart to it. And J.K. Simmons did a great job in that role as well. Playing Santa Claus. But he's doing that again in the Dwayne Johnson movie, isn't he? Oh, that's interesting. He's got 2 Santa Claus roles. Sonic says, Captain Eric, I got an ad of Kraven the Hunter in my TV. Your favorite movie. Yeah, don't insult me. Everyone in the Insomniac Spider-Man universe is too nice, says Big Bash. I never really thought of that. I thought they were too stupid in the second game, in that story. Joey Nichols says, what would your score be for Spider-Man 2 PS5? I don't want to give that away because I've got a versus video eventually. It's like I do plan to complete that versus video at some point. So I don't want to give that away just yet. But eventually I'll give the score away in that video when I make it. Batman's Gamer says, I did like the inclusion of the Sonic Burst gadget, but we needed to see more of Harry and Peter's relationship being torn apart while Peter had the symbiote. I agree. The Sonic gadget was cool. That was a really satisfying thing. But the hover gadget, I didn't even like that in the first game. And now we are massively limited with the gadgets in the second game. And they give us that thing. That felt like it was as good as having no gadget. So I don't like what they did with the gadgets. I really, really don't. Big Bash says, is the versus video for the Insomniac game close to an hour in length? Games close to an hour in length? No, the versus video for the Sonic games is about 45 minutes, I think. 40 to 45 minutes. I'm guessing. But it would be in that ballpark. But yeah, something like that. But no, not an hour. An hour would take too long, not only to edit, but also just to get past the copyright side of things. It would be a lot to maneuver around in, so I try to make sure that they don't get to an hour, personally. Eric, did you hear Mufasa is going to be gay in the movie? I did not hear that, but I'd be surprised if they found a... Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they found a way to put that in there. I mean, he's a lion. How could you make the lion, you know... I don't want to even think about it. But how can Mufasa be gay when he marries Simba's mother? That makes no sense. Big Bash says, I hate the arms Peter has in the game. They don't match with most suits. I didn't like the new design they gave him. The new face design. They should have given him a different design. Because it was the design that he should have been in the PS4 game. They should have carried that face over. But they gave him the more Tom Holland look. But the same voice. That's like saying that you're used to Andrew Garfield. But instead, they cast Tom Holland. But they give him Andrew Garfield's voice. It's just so... It's so gross and so bizarre and throws you off. And then one of the producers at Insomniac says, just get over it. Like, that's what they said. And I'm like, you can't get over it. The whole time I was playing Spider-Man 2, I could not get emotionally attached or emotionally feel for this Peter Parker because this is a new Peter Parker to me. And he's got the voice of the old Peter Parker, of the old design. So it was such a weird thing. I was like, I don't like this, what they did. I thought it was really bad. I've not seen X-Men 97. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes. If you want to get any questions, send them over to me right now. Because I'm going to end the stream very shortly right now, in 2 minutes. So that means if you've got any Streamlabs chats or Super Chats, send them in. I'll see your message instantly and I'll answer it. And your message will pop up on the screen as well if you do it through Streamlabs. Aaron Taylor Johnson Craven is not boring in Craven like he was in Godzilla 2014. Do you agree, says Jess? He was boring in Godzilla. In Craven, I can't remember a single thing about him. I know he's a great actor, but you didn't see any of that in this movie. I thought that he was really bad in this, but I don't blame him for it. I just blame Sony, because there's a lot of good actors in this that were bad. It's just not worth defending Craven or trying to make any of these comparisons. Just consider Craven crap. Because I went in with the lowest of expectations, and the movie was far worse, even though I had no low expectations. So, it's just shocking how bad that movie was. It's not even worth defending at this point. It's like there's no good thing about it, in my opinion. Alright then, I think we're just going to end everything right here. Thank you guys ever so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, as always. I'm going to be working on the Moana versus video, and I'm gonna try to get that out. And I hope you guys enjoy that video. I hope you guys enjoy the other videos I'm working on. And Batman's Gamer has done a $5 super chat. That's almost like the new Time Shadow Batman's Gamer is. Right when I'm about to end, he puts the super chat in. Thank you, Batman's Gamer, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And Batman's Gamer says, I read that the face change made things easier for Yuri Lowenthal, and all the developers meshing his face in with the new face. Oh, so it made it easier for him, and it made it easier for the developers. Is that what you're saying? That's good for them. But the thing is, then why didn't you start off with that face? Why did they have to start off with the other face and then do that? That was just such a weird thing to me, that was. It's like, if you wanted to have that face, then do it. But you didn't have to do it take so long. You know what I mean? They took just way too long, they did. It's like, they kept that face for way too long, and then they said, okay, here you go, now we've got a new face. You should have given us that face at the beginning, but they didn't. It was just so weird. And, speak of the devil, Time Shadow has entered the chat. Time Shadow says, I missed the last 4 streams, caught up with them now. but I've actually been on this. But I've actually been on this one specifically the entire time. Only I've been using my second account to disguise myself. You will have recognized me as King Charles III of England and Santa himself. Oh, that was you, Time Shadow. I had no idea. Oh wow. Oh, look at that, Time Shadow. You've got a little. You've got an audience here. They're all surprised to see, all surprised and happy to see you again. Oh, it's great to see you, buddy. Thank you very much for the donation, and thank you for joining back on the stream. I was literally about to go. I almost missed that, surprisingly, where every time I was about to go, you just dropped in Streamlabs chats. I forgot, like before, I was like, man, am I ever gonna be able to leave? But I was surprisingly like, you know what? I missed that kind of dedication to these streams. So thank you very much for that. An Avengers level threat right here, says Big Bash. Electrify says plot twist. Time Shadow is here. Indeed, that is a plot twist. Yes, Matthew Club, I've seen Terrifier 3 and I did enjoy it a lot. I really liked it. Good Time says, I swear, Time Shadow is back. Jess is like, Time Shadow is back. Good Times. Nah, Time Shadow is... No, Time Shadow is back? A lot of them are surprised that you're back, Time Shadow. Rowan says, so goodbye, take care, and peace. Peace to you too, buddy. I hope you had a great time during this live stream, and I had a phenomenal time with all of you. And Time Shadow, thanks for joining the stream again, or for making yourself known in the chat. That was very nice. I really appreciate that. Next time, hopefully, we'll see your name in the stream, not King Charles or Santa Claus. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. So, thanks very much, everyone, for watching. As always, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the super chats and the Streamlabs chats and everything. And as always, I will see all of you on the next stream. So, thanks again, as always, for dropping by. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch all of you very, very soon. Take care. You're not kidding, Time Shadow. You are back. Let me just quickly write that down, and thank you for it. That was a Oh, sorry, that's a £2. I wrote down $2. That is a £2 super chat. Thanks again, Time Shadow. I appreciate it. And yeah, if that is all, the Time Shadow is here for vengeance, says Elite. So yeah, if that is all, I'm going to be heading out again. Thanks again, Time Shadow. I really appreciate it. And thanks to all of you guys. I really appreciate it. I'll catch all of you very soon. Take care. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Let's see, he's done it again, it looks like. Let's see, has he done 2 of them? Let me see. Oh no, he's done 1 of them. I thought it was 2 of them for a second there. A few seconds ago, there it is. The £1. The £1 super chat. Thanks again, the Time Shadow. I really appreciate that. Alright, so, with that said, I think... Okay, he's done another one. Oh, that's Good Times, actually. Let me write Good Times as down. €2. What are you asking? Play Sonic 3 trailer 2 from 025. Okay, let's quickly take a look. From 25.
It's time, Shadow. Finally, we will have our revenge.
That's what you're trying to say. It's time, Shadow. This time we will have our revenge. That is Good times. That was smart. That was very good. I'll give that to you. That was really good. That was funny. That was actually very smart. Good times. That was. Let's see if I play it, continue playing it. Does it?
But what good is a dastardly plot? It's time, Shadow. Finally, we will have our revenge. But what good is a dastardly plot if you can't conspire with family? There's two.
Oh, there you go. You're trying to conspire with family now, Time Shadow, aren't you? Very nice. Yeah, Shame. It says let's go. All right, let's go indeed. I'm going to be heading out now. So yeah, thank you, Time Shadow. I really do appreciate it. Says he's in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Anyway, I'm going to head out now. Good times as even Shake saying bye. I'm saying bye. Khan says goodbye and take care and see you all next Sunday this time. So yeah, I'm gonna head out then. Thank you very much, Time Shadow. That was fun. Never change, buddy. Never change. And I'll see all of you very soon. Hopefully for fun time. Take care.